without further ado, our first semi-finalist, hailing from Helsinki, or rather from Finland, from Turku. He took out RX from Spain. Please, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming to the stage, Nazim! Nazim, last time you stood here, you were understandably nervous. How are the nerves doing now?
It's well better. I feel much more confident, and I think I'm gonna manage this.
I hope you do manage. Now, you are already guaranteed leaving here with 1,000 euros. How does that make you feel?
Amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Not bad for a Saturday afternoon. Now, standing in your way is somebody hailing from Helsinki, I'll get that right, and on their journey here did take out none other than Clash with Ash from Boston. So please, one more time, show some love, make some noise for Steroidy 69. Steroidy, how are you feeling? Relaxed, ready?
Well, pretty relaxed because I won 1K, so I'm good.
Already got 1K. Don't even have to let me say. That is good news. How do you feel about your opponent?
Well, I guess he's a good opponent, and I don't know. I don't know.
No need for words. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Turku Helsinki semi-final. Gentlemen, please come here, shake hands. It is about the fun, about the sportsmanship, but of course, these guys are taking their step, their first step. One of the two will be your first finalist of the day. So, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, a round of applause. You have been fantastic throughout, and two guys that are definitely fantastic are our commentary team, so over to you, boys.
Thank you very much, Sean. We are finally at this point. 4 players left in the tournament with 200, and to be honest, it's been underdog after underdog, just turning up and winning. I mean, a lot of 3-0s, some 3-1s, very dominant performances all round. But this match coming up, which I'm really excited about, was the fact that Nazim, just to remind some of you guys at home, Nazim was basically the bottom seed.
Yes.
The lowest, he was 8th place. He only just got there. His opponent's 9th and 10th. Underneath him, 1 trophy, 2 trophies, just separating them. I mean, this guy scraped through, yet turns up and then wins 3-0.
But gave us a phenomenal first set. And again, Steroidy came up against Clash with Ash, you know, one of the YouTubers that made the trip over here, and you know, using his deck, which I actually think is really well crafted. Now, as you can see, his favorite card is the Mortar. There are differing opinions on this unit, but Steroidy uses it very well. One of the Mortar's biggest weaknesses is that it can't target units right next to it. So what does Steroidy do? He puts a Tesla tower right next to it, so that can sort of deal with the shortcomings. There's always going to be an element of strategy, you know, whether people agree with cards or not, or whether they like them that much. The reality is there's a lot of variety in the game, and there is scope for counters. I mean, even when we saw him fight Clash, he was really onto something in that final game where he went for the huts, you know, the spawners that would constantly pump out these units that wouldn't damage the opponent's tower. It only served the purpose to constantly distract the enemy mortar. Now, here's the thing. This kind of tournament setting, a lot of these guys are not very familiar with. So these things about understanding an opponent, going, I know that my opponent is going to use a mortar deck. So do I go straight in with constantly going for distracting units, or does he try what worked for him in the original game and no counter pick is necessary? Now, last time we saw Nazim play earlier today, it was a lot of counterplay. That's what we saw the most. It was just an incredible amount of just waiting for his opponent to make a move, and then he had counters ready. He's already going in for this Goblin Hut. And we see the mortar go straight down from Steroidy, but I think it is actually
misses completely because of the speed on those goblins. Fantastic play. I love the idea that he's actually gone for the Goblin Hut instead, just to outspeed that mortar, and immediately you can tell that Nazim has done his homework.
Yeah, Nazim is 100% ready for this mortar. He has the building, the cheaper building in the Goblin Hut to distract the mortar from shooting his towers, and he's got the lightning ready as well to deal serious damage to the mortar. I don't think the mortar's going to do much at all in this game.
Okay, so, and just like that, he has the lightning ready to go, so he waits for the Goblin Barrel to appear and then goes straight in. Fantastic play right there as well.
You see the Skeletons are going to split off. Skeletons not too much of a threat by themselves. They do die in one hit to the towers, but again, Nazim's got this defense going up again against this mortar. We see the Tesla tower and an Inferno tower. So many buildings coming out from Steroidy right now.
That's a lot of fortification right there. I mean, and it's just going to act as one giant distraction. The question is the bomb going to reach the target?
Oh, just like that, taking out the mortar, which is definitely the threat in this situation. Well, if it's a question of Tesla Tower, Mortar, Inferno Tower, the Mortar every day of the week is the one that you want to get rid of first, especially if it's in range to damage your own buildings. And they're straight in with the rocket. It really is no surprise that he has a rocket available to go. And I love the way that he's gone by this deck. Now, Steroidy's been playing this really well. However, how many of those rockets is Nazim going to have on deck to literally, if he's going to play for the one tower, and he's already done that much damage to Steroidy's tower, I mean, who's going to take the first one, you know? It depends. I mean, he's playing for this extremely defensive set of cards. But right now, it's not really working out for him. But Nazim is actually playing this really clever. This deck is built to counter the mortar. He has the building to distract it. He has the rocket to do guaranteed building damage. All he's doing is stalling out, defeating the mortar, defeating the Tesla towers, get rid of the mortar, and then bam, his rockets are going to do all the damage he needs. He doesn't need to push, he just needs to destroy the mortar so he can do rocket damage. That is going to be 2 Teslas back to back. Now the mortar is probably going to target one of those things. Nice Goblin Hut just to go behind the enemy lines. That's going to be good damage, but even better reservation of that lightning spell. Ready with those reactions just in case. A bit of a stalemate going on. Again, the Goblin Hut's going to take a mortar shot. Going to take one more shot. No, it does destroy itself. I think it can be a clean shot on the Princess at least. I think what's out on the field right now is literally the epitome of what Steroidy's been doing. You have all of these buildings ready to go. And it's hard to just penetrate that kind of defense. But I mean, the question is, has Nazim got a rocket on deck and is he saving it? But the problem is, it's a lot of elixir and he hasn't got a lot available right now. But we are down to 10 seconds left. This 900 health tower on the right, Steroidy, is in a little bit of trouble, especially considering he's done so little damage to Nazim's buildings. Nazim's been saving a lot of elixir, and just so I can say that, going in for a push. The question is, what's going to accompany this giant skeleton? I mean, there's no way the giant skeleton's going to get through, but he's just soaking up all this damage. The Tesla tower's down, the minion's going to go down. Oh, Goblin Barrel goes through! Secret Goblin Barrel, how much damage? Has he been saving the lightning? Yes, he has! Great reactions there, ready to go. And the Princess is just going to sit pretty right there, chipping away at that of those giant buildings there. Take it out once again. The mortar is distracted because once again Nazim has saved the spawner unit there just to get through the mortar. Now the minions do manage to get through, but they are quite low. We can see this Barbarian Hut's going to do a really good job of just distracting all this damage. It's pure distractions. Nothing Steroidy has is getting past this middle point. That tower's looking pretty delicious for a rocket right now. I mean, let's not be around the bush. If this giant skeleton gets a good push, all he has to do is get through. Goblin Barrels once again. Has he been saving the lightning? Yes, he has. Good really defense. Smart play. I mean, again, the barrel's doing damage on an impact. It's doing some unavoidable damage, but he's managing to save himself from a lot of goblin damage. But again, this Princess again, but the mortar's got through. There we go. How much damage is it going to do? Oh, 100 left. All he needs to do is get one final thing. Nice use of the arrows right there. 11 hit points left. Anything from range will do at this point. Fantastic gameplay. Now, that was close. Steroidy had a lightning available. There was a question of who manages to get this spell off first to take out that first objective, and Nazim manages to clutch it out once again with that last little bit of damage. He is sitting there cool as a cucumber. Look at that. Hey, man, he's ready for this win. He knows. He's gone, okay, my opponent's using mortars. I need a deck going into this tournament that deals with that, and this is that deck. It's the perfect counter.
But there's always the chance that when we had these kind of preliminary group stages where everyone played everyone for an hour and a half, like, there's always the chance that when Steroidy turns up, people are like, I don't really expect this guy to have such a strong defensive mortar deck. Going into the semi-finals where everyone here has the chance to study their opponent. I mean, there is no way that Nazim didn't study up on this guy and went, how can I craft a deck during this downtime that will just completely get around the fact that this guy obviously loves mortars?
But if you main, let's say, I'm not sure what you would call it, but let's say you main the mortar deck. Let's say that really is your
go-to deck.
Your go-to thing is, I play the mortar and I craft my deck around this card. That is going to have a direct counter in what we're seeing from Nazim. But this is now up to Steroidy to make the adjustment, to go, okay, this isn't going to work. It was a close game. He almost got through, but that was more down to Nazim making a slight mistake at the end and dealing with the mortar. Didn't get his building off in time. The mortar did target his tower before he got his building out. But is Steroidy going to change, or is he just going to rely on another mistake?
I guess we just have to wait and see. There's no way to know. And that's the thing about, we are currently using the new spectator mode, which will be available in a free update coming up. So obviously we're using the spectator mode right now, but one of the things is we cannot see the card in the opponent's hand. So it opens up for a lot of speculation.
We can see the cards they've played in this match, and we can see their entire deck once they've played everything in that deck in the match, but we cannot see what's in their hand or cards they haven't played. So you guys and girls at home watching are just as in the well, I guess mystery as we are.
Now you can see there's some buildings put up almost immediately, and that's one of the benefits of this Tesla tower is that it's kind of hard. It only dishes out damage when there is something in its vicinity, right? So it can actually kind of sit there pretty, sitting quite safe. Now, what we saw in the last game was the fact that almost immediately Nazim has gone, yes, obviously stick with his deck, but he's going to stick to this idea of just constantly going for the squad units. Now, Steroidy has been quite reluctant to go for a mortar. He might not necessarily have one. Has gone for the Hog Rider. I do believe this is the first time we've seen him go for this deck.
Now, I think we may have seen Steroidy completely abandon this mortar deck. I'm not sure how much his old deck was purely crafted for the mortar, we could see. But I mean, I bet we haven't seen a mortar this game yet from him.
That's one of the smart plays that we tend to do. Already going in, the skeleton is distracted. Now that's one of the combinations, and again saving that lightning spell every single time, remembering that he has a goblin barrel ready to go. So I mean, there's no reason you would change that instant piece of damage. Really smart there from Steroidy just to keep that card in line, ready to go.
But I really like this this adjustment to the Hog Rider, because we've actually seen the Hog Rider make a lot more of an impact in today's tournament than we have seen the mortar. So the Hog Rider definitely a tried and true force to be reckoned with today.
Nazim got a lot of mileage out of that Hog Rider as well, though, in his original set of the quarterfinals, and he's going to be familiar with that card.
Oh no, a bit of a waste on the lightning by Nazim. Tries to finish off the Tesla tower, but it will die naturally, so a bit of a waste of elixir, unfortunately.
Hog Rider's going to go straight and try to take it out. I'm not sure if that was a freeze. Nice once again. That's a really good combination, that freeze and the Hog Rider. Going straight, he's going to get some of that poke. Down fence of the Princess is going to get one shot. He's going to get at least one hit right there. Kind of shaving that tower, not doing too much damage,
now,
but once again...
Like I said, we're using this new spectator mode, this observer mode. We have seen Steroidy has played every card in his current deck. No mortar to be seen. He's completely abandoned it.
I like that play. I mean, trying to show that he has other things ready to go. And also the fact that he can change deck when Nazim is locked into a deck that is entirely built to counter mortar.
Oh, the fireball's gonna... Wow, it's gonna hit both the hut and the tower for a nice amount of damage. But we can see this spawner tactic from Nazim. He's got a Goblin Hut and a Barbarian Hut. Hog Rider goes down, but he's gonna go straight for the... No, it's gonna go straight for the tower. It's gonna cleanly get through. This could be a dead tower on the left if we don't see retaliation.
There's a lot of push going in right now. Going in with the freeze just for good measure.
Oh, wow.
And he gets a very crucial rocket. But I don't think it's enough! Single Goblin running straight in there, getting that secret little hit to take out that first tower. Steroidy in a great situation. Has he saved the lightning? That's the question. Yes, he had once again. I mean, I would be very surprised if we ever catch him without that lightning ready to go. And just for that situation, not overcommitting, saving the lightning, keeping his elixir ready, and he can just play on that one tower. Looking really good for Steroidy right now.
Oh, 80 health left, didn't do enough damage. Hog Rider goes down. That was a good game from Steroidy. That was clutch.
I like the adjustment. I really like the adjustment, showing that it's not all about... I mean, yeah, he's got a mortar deck ready to go, but right there you can see he played every single card in his deck.
That load
and there
Goblin,
was
that load Goblin.
He just needed one
itself.
more, didn't he? He just needed one more troop just to get taken out. But that Goblin going to sneak in there and do a cheeky little backstab on that tower, taking out that last little bit of health.
That was no backstab. That was, he was brash, went straight up to him and went, all right, mate, let's go. You and me building, and the Goblin won.
Now, the question is, in this situation, I mean, once again, I would be very surprised if we don't see some kind of switch, because Nazim went straight in there and understanding that, you know, Steroidy was going to go for a mortar deck. And then that's kind of the thing about this tournament saying, where we're playing first to 3 games, where the option to counterpick the opponent, you know, for those of you that may not understand the whole idea of counterpicking, it's taking the time out to look at what you've lost to. And this actually applies to loads of games. Looking at what you lost to and having the luxury, having lost that next game, to change something up to give yourself a little bit more of an advantage. You know, that's what happens when you lose games, and there's no exception.
That's why game 1 in a set, while even though you've got potentially, you know, extra games behind you, let's not forget they are playing first to 3, so best of 5 set. First to 3. So, winning that first match, even though you've got all those games behind you, gives you the luxury of being able to be the first one to counterpick should you lose beyond that.
So we can see a very defensive start here from both players. No one's overcommitted to anything. Sometimes we can see potentially early Hog Riders and stuff. But for the most part, these guys will just sit there. Speaking of early Hog Riders, he's going to have to go, and unfortunately does actually commit to just having the Ice Blizzards on the right-hand side. Double freeze right there.
Oh, wow, they froze each other. Wow, really, really interesting stuff. Hog Rider is going to lose. Now, that was the important thing. The Hog Rider had to die. That was why the freeze was put down, was because, okay, if this Hog Rider is let loose, my tower is in serious trouble.
Darkro's going to run in, completely gets taken out by that minion unit right there. It's a bit of a mirror match on the left-hand side. Getting the lightning just to get a little bit of damage on the tower.
Now, nice stuff. One low minion. That really isn't going to do anything. It's going to get shot once by the tower, and
see you later.
Farewell.
Okay, so we have gone back to this kind of defensive situation. Both guys opting to kind of save up some elixir and maybe wait for what the other guy's going to do, or save up for some kind of big push.
Well, let's see what they've already played. We can see both of them have the standard goblins, both of them have the minions, but they have a little bit of differences. We can see the first Tesla tower deployed from Steroidy. Definitely seems to favor this building, it seems.
It's definitely an effective building, just kind of sitting there pretty in the front. Hog Rider running in right as the Valkyrie gets spawned, and I like the defense there, waiting for the Inferno unit. Once again, that's the strength of the Inferno tower, is that it's single damage and extremely high burst. So these slightly high hit points, but single damage, high damage targets will get melted by the Inferno tower.
I mean, just look at that. It does so much damage. Yes, it does passively lose life over time, but still, just the fact that it's there, it's distracting the big units, and it's doing so much damage to them before it dies itself.
Both players going to lose their buildings at this point. I like the idea, just poking out there with the poison, just to get a little bit of damage there on those barbarians to kind of sort of quell their offense just a little bit.
Takes all the barbarians down to about half, but there's a lot of units going through. The minions are going to be deployed to defense. The lightning is good, does serious damage to the tower, but the barbarians get through the freeze. The barbarians are going through, big damage. Wow, this tower is going down, getting chunked. Lost at least about 4 to 5.
That is a really good amount of poke right there, especially now we have 60 seconds left on the clock. The question is, what's the next play?
Double elixir has been activated with there's 60 seconds left on the clock, so a lot of scope for aggressive and very fast-paced play.
Speaking of aggressive, we have a Hog Rider paired out with a couple of goblins. Good to go. That's going to do quick damage right there. So that you're going to completely ignore them. The Hog Rider's going to run up behind. This could be it. Good use on the freeze. Double freeze once again. Shades of the beginning of the game. Rears its head.
Oh, the Hog Rider gets one last hit of 355 health. Now
that
30
one
seconds left.
lone hit might be crucial, depending on what comes next.
Hog Rider gets through, he's doing defense left. It is going to go. Oh, wow, 2 towers. That Hog Rider isn't going anywhere, but Hog Rider on the left going to go through. They're trying to distract it.
Getting one cheeky hit once again. One more hit from Hog Rider is all it's going to take. Goblins are going to run through. That's not going to do any damage.
That's dangerous. Steroidy has access to lightning. We don't know if it's in his hand, but 99 health. He just needs to chip that away.
Nice positioning there, the barbarians. Now here comes the Valkyrie. Here comes the fireball. Great play right there. Steroidy's going to take that tower and once again move on into the next game after once again stealing that final tower right before the time finish.
Also, very, very impressive play. Steroidy showing he doesn't need the mortar to win. That it isn't a crutch. It's his favorite, sure, but he doesn't need it. He has counters ready if you're ready to defeat it.
Now here's the situation. I mean, if you win one more game when you're 2 games up, that's the difference between 1,000 euros and 10,000. I mean, if you win this, you go into the grand finals to play where you get at least 3,000 euros. But if you win, you take home everything. It's a very top-heavy payout. Let's not forget that.
I mean, these guys, they're playing really cool right now. I know there was a lot of nerves at the start of the day. They do seem to have cleared up somewhat. I guess the players are just getting a bit more comfortable, but they were playing for 1,000 euros before. The winner of this goes home with 3,000. So a 2,000 euro difference between losing this and winning it. Second to first is 7,000. I want to see how they play when there is 7,000 euros separating them. All the capos of the Twitch chat.
Shout out to the Twitch chat. Love to see it. Now, the thing is, in this situation, I mean, I've said this earlier on, but a lot of these guys, this is kind of their first tournament situations. They're playing for so much money, and the pressure really is on at this point. When you get put in a situation where one game could potentially send you home and cost you a lot of money, what do? Do you keep it cool? Do you manage to, do you accidentally choke it out? Who knows? But right now, both these players, I think, are being very calm and collective. They do seem a lot more comfortable now than they did at the start of the tournament series.
I'm just happy to see this. I mean, 200 came together today. Lots of new faces, lots of unfamiliar faces, but what united all of them was just a love for the game and just finding it genuinely a fun experience. But now they're playing for big cash, and they've managed to get themselves down to top 4 out of 200 of some of the best players in the world.
Now, is Nazim going to be able to pull this one through and tighten that knot, bringing it one game apiece away from winning? Or is Steroidy going to take this 3-1 and move into grand finals? We'll have to wait and see. Going in for the Hog Rider once again. I mean, it's a very powerful unit, one of the most, if not the most popular unit of this tournament so far.
There you see the minion horde go down. Icewind's going to try and take him out, but is going to get destroyed. I don't see these minions doing much. The Valkyrie is good.
I mean, let's not forget the strength of the Valkyrie. I mean, it's not necessarily against the minion group because they are airborne, but her ability to attack in a circle around her, taking up multiple units. Here comes the Lone Hog Rider. Once again, good patience on the Inferno Tower to just distract that unit. Take him out easily.
Now, that really is the make or break we're seeing. If you've got a building ready to distract the Hog Rider, you're okay. But if you get caught without it, that's when you start taking some serious damage.
We've seen people get caught without it before, and it's done a big chunk of damage. And in many cases, they have been quite deciding factors. That Hog Rider push with the troops behind that will just dish out the damage and act as good distractions. I mean, it just hasn't stopped really, has it?
See Nazim setting up a push again with the Ice Wizard, but we see the Goblins to the left. Not quite sure how much damage they'll do by themselves. Maybe just a distraction. Not quite sure what that was about.
Sometimes it might be a way to potentially bait out arrows to see maybe Nazim has some arrows good to go. Maybe it's just clearing the unit and just making some space. But going in the Ice Wizard, is he going to get one hit? Is going to get one lone hit. But unfortunately going to get erased very quickly with that minion army and the
manages
tower.
to chip down a little further. He's doing a little bit of damage infrequently to the tower, but slowly but surely it is going to add up. And especially when it's coming from a Hog Rider, or then again, we've got a Hog Rider and Barbarians going to the left.
That's a chunky offense right there. They're going to go in, try and take out those minions. Nice freeze just to pause those units right there. Very crucial, the fact that he had a Hog Rider and some chunky Barbarians running along with him. Great use of the freeze just to stop that offense dead in its tracks.
That was really good. Minions are going to go down. The Valkyrie manages to take out the tower, but again, Steroid is going to keep himself in this game, going to take them out before they do any tower damage, and we see a Tesla tower go down again.
This is where things are going to get crucial. Double elixir, 60 seconds left before we go into sudden death, and it's going to decide one tower could send either of these guys to a bad situation.
Oh, Hog Rider goes in close, goes straight past the Barbarians. The poison's good.
I like the idea of accompanying him with the poison, going in with the freeze as well. Good defense. That's going to do a good chunk of damage right there. And it's going to even things out quite nicely on both towers. Now Nazim is sitting in a good situation.
Good Inferno Tower to distract the Hog Rider, otherwise that push would have been for nothing. Going to slowly but surely take away some damage from both of them. Left tower sitting at 1300 for Nazim, is doing a good job of just chipping this down. Inferno Tower is still there, so he's going to save himself from a push for at least a little while.
Steroidy's definitely on the back foot right now. He has a lot more work to do, but once again, one good push, one crucial little mistake could decide everything. Battle ends in 10 seconds. We probably are definitely going to go into overtime. Nice use of the poison just to quell those offensive units. That's going to do good damage to basically all of them. Valkyrie's going to run in there and do some good circle damage around as well.
Now, I feel like the poison was a great choice, because look at the amount of damage that did. He managed to get max poison damage on multiple targets.
Here comes the Hog Rider running in, but the Test Tower's going to use up.
Oh,
nice freeze! Once again, that tried and tested combination of the freeze and the Hog Rider, but both players using their freeze. So once again, we're going to find ourselves at a stalemate.
So freezing on reaction to your opponent's freeze surely is a way to go, no, this freeze isn't going to work. My freeze won't do much, but at least it's going to stop you from getting anything off it. It's just a complete definition of a stalemate.
Good use, the Inferno Tower. Once again, that's going to do good damage. Once again, these guys are doing very similar plays to one another. I mean, that pairing of the Goblins with the Hog Rider, I mean, it does so much work.
Question is the Hog Rider going to take out this tower before he dies? He's going to run straight through. He is going to go down. He's going to save himself some damage, but we see this Wizard doing AoE damage. This Ice Mage doing huge damage to these Barbarians. I don't think they're going to get to him before he manages to kill them, especially with the Valkyrie behind him.
I really want to know what this final unit is that already has good to go. We're yet to see it, but Nazim has played every single ounce of his cards, and as you can see, hasn't got a fireball, hasn't got a rocket. He has to push.
I was about to say, he hasn't used this final card. It's either a rocket or a fireball. So big damage man.
He's going to try and stall. I like the idea. Stalling with the lightning to potentially build that final piece of elixir to get that freeze on deck. He's still going to get some poke and is still in a bad situation. But I think that freeze was everything.
Now that was good damage. Considering Nazim is still sitting pretty at max health on his towers, he is in no danger here. But if Steroidy can at least manage to last a minute and 40 seconds, even if he manages to get some tower down or but keep his towers alive, he might manage to make this game a draw.
Here comes the Tesla Tower. That is, once again, going to act as a good distraction. He just has to stall for a minute and a half. Good use of the Barbarians as well, but the Valkyrie is going to take out a good amount of damage because, again, she attacks in an area around her.
Now, I thought that may have been a preemptive freeze from Nazim because he now doesn't have it, and a Hog Rider's in.
There's no freeze and a Hog Rider charging on the left-hand side. Wrecking Crew coming in on the left-hand side, trying to do as much tower damage as possible. Good defense on the poison. That's going to do big damage to every unit going in.
Okay, so the poison was used defensively that time. Nazim manages to keep his tower alive, 1,700 health, still a 1,000 health lead on Steroidy's left tower. But if Steroidy can hold out for 60 more seconds, he might be able to make this game a draw and keep things the way they are.
Nazim just needs one good push. I mean, a couple of decent strikes from the Hog unit, and that 710 damage tower, we'll get the sentence out eventually, is going to go straight out of there.
Now, Hog Rider's going to be dead. There's the freeze to stop it from taking too much damage, but the tower itself, the Tesla Tower, going to take things out. The poison, good. Going to do some chip damage on all these units. The Goblins go down. Tesla Tower might go down to it. Tower's taking a lot of damage too. Barbarian's taking, but there's the Hog Rider, but the Inferno Tower, again, so ready.
But he is going to go in, freezing the Inferno Tower, reserving a good amount of health. But once again, I do think the Hog Rider is going to get taken out before he goes in. And again, we have the AoE damage of the Ice Mage. Counter-attack.
Hog Rider goes left. The freeze has been used, but there's a Tesla Tower again to distract the Hog Rider. The Goblins, that freeze is good. Going to take out the Tesla Tower. If he can get this tower and get one more hit on this tower,
he has to charge straight through. Who knows? He isn't going to get a crucial hit. This is going to go down to 5 seconds. In this situation, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be good because the thing is, Nazim does not have any specific range damage that he can just put on a tower. In that situation, if he had a fireball, if he had a rocket, especially if he had a rocket in that situation, I mean, that's what Steroidy was doing in those preliminary games, right? Saving his rocket for the final moment.
Now,
they didn't have anything.
The true heartbreaking moment at the end of that game was if Nazim's Hog Rider got one hit on that left tower, the poison would have been enough to finish it off. That was so close. But Steroidi manages to play from the back foot literally all game and managed to draw it out to a draw. And now they're back at square one.
It was an interesting style of play. It's no mystery right now that Steroidi has a very defensive style. I mean, some people will opt to build for giant pushes, some people will opt to build for tower defense. Now, the fact that what these guys did, they actually had a very, very similar metagame to each other where it was all about the Hog Rider.
However, they both almost looked like set one of the top 8.
For sure, absolutely. Because the thing is, in that situation, they both had some kind of decent health building that could let's save it. You know, they'd literally just save it when the Hog Rider comes in. But the fact that they both had freeze means that they can both use the same kind of attack. But at the same time, if you know you have to use your freeze, the second one player uses their freeze for an attack, the other player literally just use the freeze in the exact same situation and just put it down at a neutral state once again. So what we saw there was, I think Nazim was playing better for chipping out the tower, but because they had such a similar style of play, it wasn't enough to clutch out one of the wins.
But what I like about this deck, and this is purely observation, so correct me if I'm wrong, but both of them have the Hog Rider, which is really the core of their pushes. But then at the same time, they both have counters to the Hog Rider built into their deck to get ready for what they try and do.
Well, one had Tesla Tower, one had Inferno Tower, right? I mean, it's the same kind of fundamental play, but it's just a slightly different unit.
So they're taking their time going into this next game. I mean, with so much money separating them, I can't really blame them. Looks like we are going to go straight into is this game 5?
At this point, I mean, we did have a draw. So, I mean, at this situation, Nazim is still 2 games down, and Steroidi still needs to just win 1 game. So he has opted to go straight back in. Now, was that a bluff? Was that I don't like the fact you've got a spawner because I've gone back to a mortar deck? It's just like that. Of course he has. Okay, so giving away that he's a little bit unhappy. Straight in with a rocket as well. These guys waste no time on getting that damage. So the fact that Nazim already has a spawner and Nazim already has a rocket, Steroidi has already played his mortar as well. So these guys have gone into this knowing exactly what the fundamental play is.
Now, if you guys and girls at home have just joined us, Steroidi did use this deck against Nazim in the first match of this set, but unfortunately it didn't go his way. Nazim was ready. The core of Steroidi's deck really is that mortar, that big range damage, and Nazim knew Steroidi was going to use that, so his deck is built to counter that. They just faked each other out. They had the opportunity to change decks.
This was definitely a matter of prediction.
Yes.
You know, predicting, not even like within the game itself, it was predicting what deck the opponent is going to choose in this 1st to 3 setting.
Looks like Nazim did manage to get the read. He did predict that Steroidi was going to go back to this mortar deck, so he did get his counter ready. Goblin's going to get a little bit of damage, some big damage adding up to that left tower. Let's not forget the rocket itself and the arrows and the Goblin Barrel. So much guaranteed range damage.
This may necessarily be a repeat of the first game we saw, where what was going on was Nazim had a deck that was built around countering the mortar and just out-sustaining. That's what the rocket is for, so that he can sit defensive and nullify the mortar with the single units, but constantly poke away at least 1 tower with the rocket. And as I can say, the rocket's already also going in with a rocket of his own. Both players now are going to have to be very careful with how defensively they play.
Not going to do as much damage to Nazim's tower as Steroidi is currently suffering. See, the skeletons are good, but then again, skeletons not going to do too much damage. They do die in basically 1 hit from the tower, so they're not as good by themselves. Mainly just a deterrent, I think, to stop units from attacking and getting close.
This is that make or break situation again. 60 seconds left, doing good damage, just chipping away. A couple more of those. Nazim is going to be in a good situation, and once again, there's so many single units. And talking about big damage, going straight in with the giant skeleton. What is the follow-up? There is a princess behind who's going to churn out damage and damage that mortar from a distance. Once again, going straight in with another Goblin Hut going in. Has he got the arrows ready to go?
Managed to at least take out the princess, but we see that Steroidi actually doesn't have access to the lightning, which was his sort of go-to counter for the Goblin Barrel. He doesn't have that, so the Goblins are going to do a lot more damage in the barrel than they did in the first match.
Especially if you accidentally mistimes that arrow, it takes a little bit less time. Speaking of lightning, Nazim has got lightning good to go.
I really don't see Steroidi managing to come back from this. The lightning was core to countering that Goblin Barrel. Right now, so much guaranteed damage. I don't think Steroidi's going to really be able to get some serious damage on this tower in the 10 seconds to go. At this point,
there's the rocket! How much damage is going to get going straight here? 401 straight into that! 3 seconds left. That rocket, unfortunately, it's not going to do much at all. Nazim brings it back. This is our first situation of this tournament where it's come down to the final game.
Now, we mentioned in this set counterpicking. Nazim is in a strange situation now. He managed to make the read. He changed his deck after the draw because he predicted that Steroidi was going to go back to this mortar deck. He is now locked in. I guess unless they draw possibly, he's now basically locked in for this next game. to use this spawner. But once again, what we saw there was a deck that was built around countering the mortar just in case Steroidy called that bluff and went straight back to his original deck. Nazim's read on that was extremely correct. However, they're cheering him on. But in this situation, we know that when Steroidy made the change, he won very comfortably. There is one game left. Does Steroidy go back to what he won with originally to counter the counter? Or does Nazim remember it, make a couple of notes, and try and put it through? I mean, there's so many things going on right now.
There is so much more to this game than you might think.
This is a lot more than just taking out 3 towers, let me tell you. I mean, I said it earlier on, but the best of 3 setting where you can counter pick, you can think about things, you can think about how the guy's going to build the deck. It's not just the game, it's outside the game.
You have to read your opponent his reads. I mean, you have to read his reads.
Nazim did make a really good read in that game by going, I think you're going to go back to the mortar deck, so I'm going to go straight back in for the counter. He could have been wrong. He could have been wrong in that game, but he wasn't. However, now, it's pretty much has definitely confirmed the deck. You can see his hand is shaking. This guy's very nervous.
So this is potentially the last game of the set, unless they draw, but the question is, what is Steroidy going to do here? We see the Tesla Tower, but he did have that in his other deck as well with the Hog Rider.
Very hard to tell what kind of deck Steroidy's built right now. I mean, I don't think he's gone for the mortar. I really don't. And he's gone straight back into the Hog Rider. I do think he's gone straight back to the deck that won before.
So the Giant Skeleton going to do a good job of soaking up all this damage. Hog Rider going to take some serious damage from the towers. Hog Rider might get through, but it depends what Nazim's got. And there's the Rocket. Wow, that
was an expensive defense right there. That's 6 elixir just to counter any damage from Hog Rider. But again, I think he's trying to go for the game plan of just waiting out the clock, playing to sudden death, and then using some kind of large damage target to just get that 1 tower.
Nazim's left tower taking a little bit of damage. I mean, we're a minute into the game right now and only down about 350 life, so it might not seem too bad now, but we'll see how that seems a little bit later on in the match.
But we know almost immediately there's 2 different spawners, a Giant Skeleton and a Rocket, and a good Fireball once there. So we know, again, that playing defensively might be slightly harder for Steroidy than it is for Nazim, because Nazim has higher single target damage with those spells.
That was a really good lightning, though, just to do some serious damage. I mean, again, he's already managed to take a couple hundred up and almost even things up just on that alone.
Going in for that little minion army right there, just to handle the barbarians going straight in. The princess going to take out good damage, I mean, good AoE damage.
Oh, there's the freeze. Steroidy's going to take out this barbarian. The princess, wow, has managed to be saved. Nazim's clutch arrows to keep her in the game. She's very low on health.
Sending good data to Steroidy right now, though, understanding that he also has arrows good to go, so he's going to be able to plan his next advance very carefully. Here come the goblins. I mean, they're not going to do a huge amount of damage by themselves, but they're going to shave off just a couple of little bits of hit points right there.
Couple of hundred, that's not so bad. I mean, slowly but surely, a couple hundred damage here and there is going to do it.
Now, whoever wins this game moves on to grand finals. There's a minute left until we double the elixir. This is a very nerve-wracking situation for both of these players.
There you find the elixir's literally just been doubled. It's a minute until overtime. We see the Hog Rider going to do some damage to the Barbarian Hut, but the Hog Rider might not manage to get through this time. I think that was really good placement by Nazim to keep the Hog Rider off, and the Barbarian Hut again to keep things in.
Putting the Barbarian Hut next to his weakest tower, very good call. Going to do good damage to every single unit right there. The Giant Skeleton is very unlikely to reach that tower, especially with so much range. Oh, but do I speak too soon? Using the lightning to shut down any of that defense.
No, the minions managed to fly out of the range. Oh, a few of them will get taken out. Sayonara, you are gone. The minions will definitely get taken out by the tower, but will the Barbarians get through? Princess is good. The Hog Rider,
this is a big push right now. Using the rocket, saving it. Good situation right there. It's going to do good damage anyway, but once again, saving that rocket for that situation. Here comes the push with the Giant Skeleton. This could be the push that moves Nazim through into grand finals.
This amazing aggression by Steroidy, but just keeping calm and collected as Nazim keeps himself in. The Goblin Barrel saved till the last minute. Going to chuck on the left. I don't think so.
There's nothing to defend. The Goblin's going straight in for the lightning right there. And that was that tried and tested combination of the Giant Skeleton and the Goblin Barrels getting good damage, but here comes sudden death. One more tower is going to decide who moves on into grand finals.
Well, again, we have finishing into maybe going into our first grand final. It's so close. Left tower weak on both of them. They're really going to pull something magical out at the end. Princess is making her way down.
Double the spawner. I mean, that's a lot of pokes. She has to handle that immediately. Good use of the fireball. I agree with that. Just get rid of the danger immediately.
Giant Skeleton is good. At least soak up. Well, at this point, if Steroidy's got the Hog Rider, Barbarians are down. Does the Hog Rider follow?
Now, let's not forget as well, Nazim has got a rocket. If he gets a good little bit of damage, good use. Here we go. This could be it.
500 health to go on the left, but Steroidy hasn't used his Hog Rider in a while. I'm sure he's got it ready.
And we also know that Nazim might have a rocket ready to go just to put on that piece of pressure, but I like the fact that he's not spending it too aggressively just in case we see this Hog Rider push.
There's the freeze! I was going to call it! They're already ready for it, but the Hog Rider actually is getting pushed around. The Goblin Barrel is good. This Hog Rider is no, but the lightning takes them out.
This is so close! The Princess is going to do some damage if Story's not ready to counter her. 531 on Steroidy, 546 on Nazim. Here comes a big push. Minion Army and the Hog Rider. Here we go. This could be it. Oh no, the Hog Rider is looking and he is going to take the tower. Oh no, not left just yet. The Rockets to go in with their Fireball and take out that tower. What a fantastic play there from Steroidy. Going straight in. He's going to move on into Grand Finals. What is up with Steroidy saving all of these spells in just the nick of time? He is so on the back foot all the time, but he doesn't lose it. He doesn't throw these cards away. He keeps them for a rainy day, and it always rains, and he is always ready. He is your first Grand Finalist, guaranteeing himself 3,000 euros minimum. How many of these ridiculous plays are we going to see? It's all coming from Steroidy as well. Huge props to Nazim, though. Absolutely phenomenal play. Probably the best set we've had so far today. That was the set of the tournament. Can we just get a round of applause, guys, for these guys bringing it out today? 200 of them came, and these made top 4, but 3-2. Wow. I mean, and one went down to a draw, so I mean, it was more than that. What a set. That was incredible. I mean, right until the very end, it was even health. Like 30 hit points separated those left-hand towers. And then right at the end, we just think, you're almost ready to wrap it up and go, right, that's over. But that really clutch missile just to handle all of those units. But then before we can even collect ourselves, straight in with the Fireball to just steal that Grand Final. Incredible stuff. I mean, Steroidy really showing why he deserves to be here. But the question is, who is he going to be against? And we're going to find out very soon. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get to an interview right now with our host, Sean. Take it away.
Wow, Steroidy, that went right down to the wire. It must have been, I mean, it was nerve-wracking to watch. What was that like to play in?
Well, the opponent was just amazing, you know, like 3-2, and I had like he could have just rocketed me and I would lose. This is just amazing. And I actually played something else than Mortar, so I guess crowd likes me more now, not like last time.
So I can confirm that no matter what, you're going to be taking home 3,000 euros because you are our first finalist. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Steroidy69. Wait right here, so I'll be right back. I have to say, Nazim, you played fantastically throughout. You are now going to be basically out of the tournament, and that's sad. But you played very well. Can you tell us what were you thinking when it was going down to that wire moment?
Well, I wasn't expecting that Hog Rider at all. It was really good. It was really good.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause, of course, for Nazim. Steroidy, anything you'd like to say before the next matchup?
I'll try to play less Mortar.
Play less Mortars. There's some support for the Mortars out there.
I'm just kidding. I will.
The Mortars might stay in, the Mortars might go out. It'll be a contended subject. I'm going to let you guys go away. Thank you so much. One more time, a round of applause for these two semi-finalists and, of course, your first finalist. Come on, guys. I know you can do better than that. I knew I could count on you. Now, our next matchup saw, first off, taking out Derek from Hong Kong, which was a big scalp for him. And he is from, and let me get it right, Finland, and none other than Kirkkonummi. And his name, ladies and gentlemen, is Jason. Jason, here you are, semi-finals, 1 foot potentially into the final. You watched that match backstage. What did you think?
It was really close. One mistake and it's over.
One mistake made it. Any predictions now for your game that's coming up here? How are you feeling?
I have no idea who's going to play. I don't know how well my decks are going to counter him, but we'll see.
You're prepared? You're ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Excellent. Bear with me 1 second. We are going to be bringing up our other Finnish contender coming from Kirava. And I hope I said that right. Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for Alfie. Elfie, you are the only one of our semi-finalists that actually took out one of the Finns on the road here. Does that give you any kind of strategic advantage going up against a Finn now?
No.
Absolutely none. How are you feeling having just witnessed that last down-to-the-wire nail-biter?
I'm relieved for sure, but we have to fight on.
Fight on indeed. Guys, are you ready? Come on, guys, are you ready? Guys, please, I ask you to shake hands. Good sports fans, have a seat, get ready. Woo. The flames have gone, but it's still warm in here, I can tell you that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. We are going into our second semi-final, looking for our second finalists. And in order to do that, I'm going to hand off to the dynamic duo that is Ketchup and Mustard.
Thanks very much, Sean, and we are getting through this. We are down to our final semi-final of the day. The winner of this will go through to the grand finals, who will be playing against Steroidy. Moving in.
The question is, are we going to get another set like the one we just had?
I hope so.
Or is it going to be a clean sweep?
I mean, it's really a different dynamic because, like we saw earlier on, Jason causing potentially the biggest upset of the tournament in a very convincing 3-0 fashion, did defeat Derek, who
Derek,
from Hong Kong
he came
scores.
here to play. I mean, that guy is arguably the best player in the world on the leaderboard. I mean, he's been on top for so long. The game is relatively new, and he's been on top for as long as he has. But he comes over here, and although placing really highly, the third seed, does get taken out in the tournament. I mean, he was actually my pick to win, personally. And, you know, I'll eat my words very, very humbly, but what a fantastic display of gameplay from everyone at this tournament so far. And there is really only 2 sets left. This one to decide our second grand finalist and the grand finals themselves. We are at the higher end of this tournament where there is so much money to play for. Once again, for those of you that are just joining us, whoever wins this game will get a minimum of 3,000 euros, and the winner of the entire tournament takes home 10,000. Definitely the bigger end of this pot of a 15,000 pot which has been supplied.
Now remember,
very generously.
Remember, you guys and girls at home, if you are enjoying what you are watching, Clash Royale is a free-to-play, free-to-download game. So get on your iOS or Android, get onto your store and give it a download. Free-to-play. It's a relatively new game in terms of competitive life. This is like really the first kind of event that Supercell have done like this.
And these guys are so good already. What's up with that?
Well, the thing is that's it. We went into this with 200 players, including a lot of recognizable and very talented faces in this game. And who have we got on our top 8? Primarily people from Finland, faces we do not recognize, people we don't know, but they are so good, and they've won themselves a tidy amount of euros.
I think that's quite a nice thing about it. We have a lot of basically all the semi-finals, all Finnish players. It's the fact that there's a big comfort zone here, right? Like, once again, this is a lot of these guys' first kind of tournament situation, but people have come from all over the world for this event. But a lot of these guys in Finland, I mean, it's their comfort zone, and they're here to play. Great saying for these guys.
Because I think we are about to get into our first game. We can see Hog Rider already deployed straight up to aggression. Oh, the minions, but I don't think, wow, the Hog Rider is going to do at least one hit, because right as the Hog Rider was spawned, we saw an elixir pump put down. So that was kind of like, wow, there we go. There's some more electricity to take out these minions.
Bomb Tower is going to completely ignore those minions, though. Bear in mind, they are airborne units. The question is, it's a matter of being defensive once again. These guys, I mean, that's quite a popular play. It's just kind of sit pretty. One thing we can see Jason go for the elixir pump right there just to get that little bit of extra of a bonus, which will mainly help him later on once we reach the double time. But at this point, every little helps.
Now here we go. Here's the Giant. This was kind of like the core of a lot of Jason's pushes, especially against Derek. It's just the Hog Rider Giant combo. Just this big health. The Giant goes in first and soaks up all the damage, and the Hog Rider does all of the damage to the objective.
We've seen this already. I mean, that tried and tested combination of Giant and Hog Rider. Jason getting so much mileage out of it before. And again, we can look at his units. He has relatively inexpensive units. He has both sorts of goblins. He has the minions good to go. I mean, like, you know, Elfie, my mistake on the other end. These very, very cheap units, which you can basically constantly pump out. So at no point are you ever without any kind of troop unit that can help you stop some kind of push.
Speaking of which, the Hog Rider goes down. Does he have a building ready to distract it? I don't think he does. The Barbarians are going to try and stop, but the Hog Rider going to get one. Ooh, just going to die before he gets the second one.
He was like milliseconds away from getting that extra hit. So it's quite evenly balanced right now. Here comes the Bomber again. I like the idea of going for a Bomber because we see a lot of people in this tournament go for the Barbarians, and the Bomber does a great job. Even the Bomber by himself outside of the tower.
But then you chuck a tower into the mix, going to take some serious damage from the Hog Rider, but Barbarians are going to keep him alive. Will the Bomb Tower manages to live to fight another day. Oh, a big push going in. Barbarians and Goblins. Min's going to go through. The Goblins are going to take some of them out. But oh, wow, and there's the electricity. 60 seconds left. Here we go. Here comes the double again. Going straight in with the Giant, pushing straight past. The only thing that can do damage right now is those Spear Goblins that aren't going to do a huge chunk of damage by themselves. Good use of the arrows. Going in with the push. This could be the tower busted. This could be it. The Giant's going to punch it. 1, 3, 3, 7 life. No, it goes down. Goblins are going to keep alive. The Barbarians are going to counter this, but just chipping the life away over and over again. The Hog Rider is good. Elfie manages to deploy it. Going to run straight past the minions. Wow, the lightning does a lot of damage. And more importantly, stunning those minions. That's going to be some free damage. But speaking of that, straight in with the counter-attack. In with another Giant. Here comes the Bomb Tower just to try and get those single units by themselves. And once again, more importantly, distracting that Giant from taking out that tower, which is very weak at this point. Now, up until this point, Jason's been saving the Giant before it attacks. Is it going to survive? The arrows aren't doing much damage. Giant goes through. Great stun there. Might have saved a couple of things ahead, but that's going to go. 10 seconds. 8, 7. Just in this situation, this Hog Rider's going to try and go behind enemy lines. A Fireball just to try and do some of that damage, but at this point does not matter. Now, really, really well played from Jason. And again, the Giant is what did it. Now Jason's just doing a terrific job of just keeping himself composed, because right then, if he didn't put those Barbarians down exactly where he did when he did it, the Hog Rider would have pushed through them, snuck past them, and then killed the tower. The fact that he managed to deploy early enough to body block the Hog Rider before he could get close enough to damage the tower is what saved that match for him.
Now, right now, no one really has actually had an answer for that Giant push. I mean,
like, see, Jason, favorite card, Giant, we're seeing why it's doing incredible amounts of work right now.
Well, he definitely picked his favorite card as the Giant for a reason, and what we're seeing right now is it put in so much work. I mean, we've seen so much Hog Riders, but now you've got Jason who takes the Hog Rider and pairs it with the Giant. I mean, that's not a particularly fun combo to deal with.
It's working though. I mean, we are seeing buildings in an attempt to distract it, but then you've got two amazing building destroyers in the Hog Rider and the Giant. If they're both part of a push, they are together going to annihilate any building they come into contact
with. Now, with this level of downtime, always brings a deck change. Always. I mean, when these guys, they don't opt to go straight back in, it's because that you have so much creativity. Once again, to remind you guys at home, these guys have been given the same cards that are a set level for balance. They all have access to the same stuff, so these guys will constantly try and switch around their decks to try and give themselves the best chance possible.
They all have the same cards at the same level, but it's up to them how they craft those cards into up to 3 decks that they can then take with them onto the stage.
Well, Jason's the only player in this top 8 that has favored the Giant as much as he has. You know, I mean, everyone has had the chance to use the Giant, but he is the only one that has chose to specialize with that and make it such a key part of every single push he goes for.
But it's basically just, you know, just comboing the cards and the units together. Yes, the Giant is doing a lot of work, but without the Hog Rider, it wouldn't be anywhere near as effective, and vice versa. It really is proving to be a good strategy. The question is, if he's doing it in... Basically, this is the same deck he used, I believe. I could be wrong, but the Giant Hog Rider combo is basically what he used against Derek. And if it wins him this set, are the Grand Finals going to be ready for that kind of combo? That's proving so effective so far.
It's a matter, I mean, these guys have been watching each other's games. There's always going to be a matter of preparation. I mean, these guys are free to take as many notes as they want leading into these matches. And as you can see right here, putting in a lot of thought into this next match. I mean, this is probably one of the longer breaks we've had, but it's because we are so far into this tournament and there is so much more to play for. I mean, Jason's been given a nice amount of comfort right now. He is 1 game up. He has to win 2 games. You know, Elfie has to win 3. He's still yet to make a scratch in this score bracket so far. So he has to really think about whether his deck is going to be the right choice for this situation.
So just for those of you watching at home, we are using a new observer mode in the game, a new spectator mode, which shows us what cards the players have used what they have deployed in that match, but we cannot see the cards they are yet to play or the cards that are in their hand. So we're there's a lot of speculation going on as to what we see they have, what they might have in their hand, what they've used, but we don't see them until they deploy them. So some players are keeping cards until the very last second.
We have seen a fair amount of people saving the rocket until the final minute. So, I mean, you know, anything is possible at this point, especially with this such high level of play going on right now with both of these players.
But that's what excites me, though. This is, without a doubt, amazing level of play for this game. The game is quite young, it's quite new, but being played like this already for cash is really promising.
A lot of the best players in the world are here right now. You know, I mean, what example could you want? I mean, so many amazing players have been here to play, and once again, 200 people were here this evening. Fantastic turnout with just these guys left to play. Now, he's still thinking. I mean, this is a strong decision. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where you potentially lose and go,
should I have made this decision? Should I have gone with this card? Should I have gone for that deck?
But the problem is, if you change your deck and you counter-pick deck and then lose again, what have you got left? You've lost with 2 decks, multiple decks. Do you go to a third and then put yourself in a situation when you are locked to that deck for the rest of the set? Or do you stick with your guns and try and get it out?
Okay, so it looks like both these players are good to go. We're going to be switching the gameplay as soon as possible. Now, this has been a long break, so he's going to be thinking long and hard about the decision he's just made here. Straight into the cannon. Haven't seen that before.
I'd say he's just going to put it down defensively right now just to keep himself safe, but Jason might just wait it out to lose
I don't know whether using that immediately was a fantastic idea. I mean, like, it's definitely an answer for the Giant, you know, to pump out damage to that Giant and the Inferno Tower. This is some hard countering towards the Giant. He does not want to deal with this push.
Really good stuff. The cannon's losing most of its health naturally. You see left the Barbarians go through. I do think the Barbarians, are they going to get destroyed or are they going to win this fight? It looks like with the tower shooting them constantly, they are going to go down.
And the question is as well, will the Inferno Tower reach from this range?
Well, there's another cannon going in. Hog Rider's going to go straight for it. The question is, does the Hog Rider go for the Inferno Tower after this? Yes, he does, but the Inferno Tower's going to make short work of him.
Now, the immediate change that we can see Elfie's gone for is more defensive buildings that can just pump out damage.
But he's still low. He's still losing on tower health. That's the problem. And we can see Jason does have these elixir pumps just constantly giving him resources. Hog Rider goes through. Minions aren't going to stop him. He's going to get a couple of hits before he dies.
That was actually a really smart use of the lightning there. I mean, the minion army is... They've all pretty much one hit from dead, so not going to do that much damage, if any, to that left-hand tower. So just getting that poke to try and put the momentum in his favor. I mean, there's only a mere few hit points separating both these... Well, right as I say that, they take more damage, but, you know...
The Giant is going to get him, but is that cannon too far to the left? But the Inferno Tower is going to block it at the very least. Giant's going to go straight for the tower at least. Going to take some serious damage from it, though. Yeah, he is going to get absolutely mauled by the Inferno Tower.
Big damage on the Giant right there, but once again, I mean, we do find ourselves in a very, very kind of neutral situation. He's going to pop another one of those elixir pumps to just try and give himself the biggest benefit possible. I like the idea that he's used it right now, because you have 5 seconds until his elixir will start doubling in speed, giving him bigger pushes and more units at a much faster rate. Here we go.
Hog Rider manages to sneak through, does another 2 hits. Basically, every 2 hits
this is a big push.
Every 2 hits from the Hog Rider is taking about a quarter life away from the total tower's health. So getting that twice, it's already half dead. But this is such a huge push. The Barbarians go straight for the tower. The Giant is keeping the Inferno Tower busy, so the Barbarians get some nice damage down.
That was a good amount of poke, but in this situation, Jason's still on the back foot. I mean, he has got less tower health. Here comes the Hog Rider. He's going to completely ignore his minions, take a chunk of damage. Is he going to get 1 hit? No, he isn't. Tries to go in for the lightning just to go for that delay. Here comes the Giant push once again. We've seen it so many times before. Barbarians going in. This is going to be a big fight in the left lane.
But be careful now. We see the Inferno Tower just went down. The question is, does Elfie have the buildings left? The Giants are just going straight past them, and they all die.
That could have been a game-changing arrow. Here we go.
This is it. The Fireball's not going to kill it. The Giant going to keep punching. Wow, 2 more hits is going to take the tower down.
He's not going to stop.
Here comes more of a base race going in. And anything that can stop it. The Giant's going to take the tower. And once again, just like that,
wow.
Hog Rider gets taken out.
And it looks very much like Jason is going to be taking another
second Giant, just for good measure.
Giants, man, they're doing it. They're putting in the work.
The not-so-gentle Giant's going to take 2 games up in the set. I mean, that was after a deck swap as well. Jason is just sticking with his guns. Giant is Jason right now.
Well, the thing is, the deck change has been beneficial, but right there at the end, where it almost at that point didn't matter. I mean, so much beef that was going in, because obviously let's not forget that it's not just a matter of having the fact that you've got a Giant there. You've also got Barbarians that can soak up extra damage.
And the Hog Rider.
Everyone's using this Hog Rider tonight, and it's putting in a lot of work.
It's just working so well for him, Jason. I actually think Jason's got one of my favorite ways of playing that we've seen all evening. It's kind of breaking the mold. I don't know how popular the Giant is on the actual game client. I know, like, you know, sort of researching this event, I haven't really seen it used too much leading into this tournament, but it's making such a big impact.
I think maybe that's one of...
you have confetti landing on you.
Oh, do I?
It's yellow.
It's right in front of me. How about that? Now, it's also a level of, like, the fact that we haven't really seen loads of people opt to go for the Giant means that there's always the chance you can throw people off. I mean, he's been using it so much, and it's so crucial to his deck, but it's like you just said. Now, the thing we did see was Elfie take a lot of time. I mean, just like right now where he's thinking about maybe switching out decks, and he said, what happens if he takes all this time to switch his deck out, but then he loses again? What do you do? And in this situation,
if that happens
it's the
this
same
time,
thing.
the set's over.
Now, this is the dangerous situation because he has already attempted. He's already attempted to go for a deck switch to deal with this Giant, and it didn't work in Game 2 either. So this is a stressful situation to be in for Elfie right now, no doubt about it.
Okay, so they're both waiting for some elixir to build up. Remember, you do have a finite amount of resources to deploy. Big push coming in from Elfie. Barbarians
and the Hog Rider. Lightning is good on the minions, but they're going to survive. That was actually a very crucial Lightning going straight past both those, just like that. Big damage on the tower. If he can keep that push going, he's going to be in a great situation. But here comes the counter-attack. I mean, that was an expensive push, but he is going to save the bomb tower. I like the idea of using the bomb tower because it's a distraction, but because he attacks an AoE, big splash damage to handle these troop pushes that he's been going for.
What do you think happened there, though? Because Jason kind of just didn't defend. He put some minions down, but nothing more. Do you think he thought that was enough?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens here. The Giant is going to take that tower out, but not before the Barbarians make short work of him. Here comes the troop push that we see so many times.
Barbarians on Goblins, on Spear Goblins. Literally a mirror match in the lane right now, but we see the tower's not close enough to damage them either. Barbarians didn't take that much damage. They are going to get a little bit closer. Question is, does the tower take any poke here?
Fight's definitely going to do a good job of just stalling the match. And he gets a couple of spears. I mean, that might add up by the end of the game.
And the Hog Rider's good. Question is, does Jason have anything to defend? The minions, they didn't do it enough last time. Is this tower gone? Oh, no, just in time. They did manage to move on.
We see that quite a lot where, I mean, it's almost like his reactions have been quite late with that minion army, where he sees the Hog Rider, but almost puts it too late, to the point where the Hog Rider's already ran straight past them.
But you're always micromanaging your elixir, so maybe it's a question of, if I wait a couple more blocks, I'll be able to deploy this after, but if he waits too long, then his tower takes damage. He's down 660 health right now on his left tower. That's quite a dangerous situation to be in, especially when you're 2 games up. You don't want that momentum to go out of your favor.
Back at this neutral situation, but once again the bomb. I mean, that's one of the extra elements of the Hog Rider that you can kind of outrun those bombs. And here comes a big push, 60 seconds left. This is where things are going to double. This is the dangerous point again for Elf.
Also, can we talk about how when it's Hog Rider and Giant, they're completely separate, but the Giant goes in first to take the aggro. When it's Barbarians and Giant, the Giant is always placed inside the Barbarian.
Very unfortunate placement though, because the Giant went completely past both those units, and he's going to be sitting really pretty right now. Is the Giant going to be able to solo this tower?
There is no way he's going to go down before that will do it. The Goblins aren't going to be enough to stop him. He is just marching on.
30 seconds to play defensive. And if you can defend that tower damage for 30 seconds, he's going to move on into grand finals.
That was all down to perfect minion placement. He managed to put the Barbarians around the Giant. So the Giant was just walking with a wall of Barbarian units around him.
That's just positioning, and that's high-level placement that you will only see at this level of the game.
This might be game. 10 seconds left. I don't think that's enough. This could be it. The Giant's going to go in. The Giant's taking all the aggro from the Goblins.
So smart, deploying it so that the Hog Rider has no follow-up. Running in, going for the Giant. He's going to take all of that damage.
Another 3-0. Jason is officially the most dominant player going into grand finals. Has not dropped a single match on his way. Not one match has this individual lost.
And let's not forget that Jason took out Derek as well. This guy has been on a tear this evening.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Guaranteeing himself 3,000 euros. Commiserations to Elfie. Managed to make his way to 4th today, where he's going to walk away with 1,000 euros. So not walking away empty-handed. But that does leave us with Steroidy and Jason as your 2 finalists.
This has been kind of insane. I mean, very rarely, I mean, every time we've seen people play so far, it's been they have a set deck which has been countered. Whereas in this situation, Elfie, he tried so hard to counter that giant deck.
Jason's deck is just not able to be countered right now. He is just managing to keep himself together with one deck. One deck survived multiple from Derek. One deck survived multiple from Elfie. This guy is unstoppable right now.
Didn't Jason say in his very first interview, I kind of just have my way of playing, and he's basically said, I've got my way of playing, and I'm just going to do that. I don't really have counters. He said basically, like, I don't really have like much counters good to go. I'm just going to kind of go there and do my thing. He's gone in and strolled in and done his thing, and has strolled all the way into grand finals with his thing. So he's definitely doing something right. I mean, great situation to be in.
It's absolutely a dominant performance, but that's what I like to see. My favorite thing about today by far has been the unpredictability and the diversity in the decks and the cards we're seeing played. It just does a really good job of just showing exactly what Clash Royale is all about, which is like having a strategic mind, using things at the right time, knowing what cards are available, knowing what counters what, how much elixir it all costs. There's a little bit more going on than you might think, but the game at its core is a very simple concept.
I think what I really like though is this the level of customization, because again, these guys have had access to the same cards. It's about decks that make them feel comfortable, and clearly this giant deck does make Jason feel very comfortable. Speaking of Jason, we do have an interview lined up before he goes into grand final, so take it away, Sean.
Thank you so much, guys. Wow. From a game that went all the way down to the wire to what can only be described as a 3-0. Jason, congratulations.
Thank you. Feels amazing.
Jason. Come on, guys. This is Jason. Jason, you said from the start that you want to play your way, your deck, the way you like it, and it seems to be working. What's really working for you here?
It's probably just the experience with the deck, and that's about it, probably.
How many games was it with this deck?
Couple thousand.
Couple thousand with this deck. There you go, pro tip number one. Couple thousand games with your deck, you'll be getting there. You are now a finalist. You are guaranteed to go home with a minimum of 3,000 euros, but you of course have a chance to take home that 10,000. Is that something that's in your mind right now?
At this point, I don't really care who wins. Would be nice if I win, but I don't care.
Are you having fun?
I'm having fun.
Now, of course, there were 200 hopefuls that came in here today. Come step up for 1 second, sir. Or stay. That's fine. I was just going to... Come on. Be careful over here on the thing.
Yeah.
Very quickly. How are you feeling?
Well, I'm disappointed for sure, but he was better, so what can you do? That giant!
Round of applause. Come on, guys. I'm going to let you go back, of course. Jason, 200 hopefuls entered in. You're now in the final two. Is that something you imagined when you woke up this morning?
No, not at all.
So what's going to be the game plan now going in, knowing that you're up against Steroidi 69?
I don't think I'm going to win my game plan for this.
Don't reveal the game plan. Keep it secret.
Thank you.
Thank you. One more time, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause. From 5 matches, ladies and gentlemen, down to just 3, needing to find our ultimate 2 finalists, and we have them. Let's take a look at how they got here today. As you can see, the bracket's up there. Through all things, I can't actually see it, but I can tell you that there were upsets across the board. And from taking the 4 Finns that came in to the semi-finals, we now know who our finalists are. Steroidi versus Jason. I'm sure you have some favorites. I'm sure everybody here has some favorites. Are you guys ready for this final? Yeah. Come on, guys. Are you ready for this final? They